Inflation is high, common sense is low, and the motorcycle industry is preying on your stupidity. There are motorcycles in showrooms right now that are objectively terrible purchasing decisions. We are talking about machines that cost as much as a luxury car, but ride like a shopping cart. If you buy one of these, you are not a biker. You are a mark. You are the victim of marketing that sold you useless specs. But don't worry, we are here to save your wallet. Here are the 16 motorcycles that only dumb people buy in 2026. I hope you don't own one of these bikes. Number 16, Yamaha Niken GT. We start with the answer to a question nobody asked. The Yamaha Niken GT, it has 3 wheels, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Yamaha claims it adds front-end confidence. We claim it adds weight, complexity, and social isolation. It weighs nearly 600 pounds. It costs $17,000. It uses a complicated parallelogram steering linkage that has twice as many fork seals to leak and twice as many tires to buy. And for what? So you don't have to learn how to counter-steer properly? Buying a Niken is announcing to the world that you are terrified of motorcycles. It is wide, ugly, and solves a problem that doesn't exist. You cannot lane split easily because the front end is as wide as a barn door. The wind management is bizarre. The windscreen is huge, but because the front fairing is so wide, you get dirty AR hitting your shoulders constantly. You are paying a premium to look like you are riding a snowmobile on asphalt. We met a guy named Tripod Terry at a bike night. He was trying to explain the Ackerman steering geometry to a group of women who were actively backing away from him. He admitted that he had to replace the front fork seals, and the shop charged him double labor because they had to disassemble the entire front linkage. He spent $2,000 to fix a fork leak. He cried into his helmet. If you've been here a while, you already know what Iron Pulse is about. We dropped the essentials, old school, rider-made style, the cap, for long miles and windy days, the T, for the garage, the ride, and everywhere in between. The mug, for early starts and late nights planning the next run. No hype, just the mark. 20% off right now. Link in the description down below. The Niken is weird. Our next bike is literally ancient. It is a piece of agricultural equipment sold as a lifestyle vehicle for a price that is borderline criminal. Number 15, Ural Gear Up. Do you hate reliability? Do you hate highway speeds? Do you have $25,000 burning a hole in your pocket? Then you are the target demographic for a Ural Gear Up. This is a Russian sidecar motorcycle that hasn't fundamentally changed since World War II. It makes 41 horsepower. It tops out at 65 miles per hour. It costs $25,000 in 2026. For that money, you could buy a brand new Honda Africa Twin and a trip to Europe. Buying a Ural is purchasing a mechanical problem. The build quality is agricultural at best. Bolts vibrate loose. Oil leaks are standard features. The handling is terrifying. When you accelerate, it pulls right. When you brake, it pulls left. You are fighting the machine constantly. It is dumb because you are paying premium prices for obsolete technology. You are paying for the aesthetic of being stranded on the side of the road. A hipster named Julian bought one to take his golden retriever to the coffee shop. On his first adventure to a state park, the final drive shaft sheared off. He was stranded on a fire road. He had to pay a tow truck $600 to drag it out. The dog looked embarrassed to be seen with him. Julian sold it for half price 2 months later. Is your wallet thanking us yet? Click that like button, and if you want to be smart, subscribe so you don't miss the next time we save you thousands of dollars. The Ural is slow. Our next bike is fast, but it is impossible to ride for more than 20 minutes. It is a commuting torture rack sold to kids who don't know better. Number 14, Honda CBR 600RR. The 600 Super Sport class is dead, but Honda keeps reviving it for people who enjoy chiropractic bills. Buying a CBR 600RR for street riding in 2026 is a sign of low intelligence. It costs $13,000. It has zero torque below 10,000 RPM. The clip-on handlebars are mounted below the triple clamp, forcing you into a fetal position. The seat is a piece of plywood covered in vinyl. Unless you are actively entering a club race, this purchase makes no sense. On the street, you are miserable. You are putting all your body weight on your wrists. Your neck is craned back just to see the traffic light. You have to slip the clutch to leave a stop sign because the engine has no low-end power. It is a track tool that dumb people buy to look cool at Starbucks. You look like a jockey riding a missile in slow motion. We know a kid named Tyler. He bought a brand new CBR because he wanted to look like Marc Marquez. He commutes 30 minutes to work. After 1 week, he arrived at the office walking like a 90-year-old man. His wrists were so inflamed he couldn't type. He now rides with a backpack full of ibuprofen. Quick pit stop. I went out and put together a short list of the best rider tools and gadgets. The stuff that actually saves your day on the road. Here are all the essentials. It's all linked in the description under Grab the Gear here. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just helps support the channel. Now back to it. The Honda hurts your wrists. Our next bike hurts your wallet and your ego. It is a three-wheeled tricycle for people who have given up on life but still want to wear leather vests. Number 13. Can-Am Spyder F3. This is not a motorcycle. If you buy a Can-Am Spyder and wave at motorcyclists, you are the punchline of the joke. It is a snowmobile with wheels. It costs $30,000. It is as wide as a Honda Civic. It gets the same gas mileage as a Honda Civic, but it's a bike so you get wet when it rains. It has a massive inline-3 engine and sophisticated stability control that prevents you from having any fun. The dumbest part about the Spyder is the value proposition. For 30 grand, you get all the disadvantages of a car and all the disadvantages of a bike, with none of the advantages of either. You cannot lean. You cannot lane split. You just sit there, legs sprawled out, waiting for traffic to move. It is a glorious monument to bad financial decisions. A retiree named Bob bought the top trim F3 Limited. He spent 35 grand with accessories. He went on a group ride with real bikes. At the first twisty section, the bikes disappeared. Bob was stuck wrestling the handlebars, fighting the centrifugal force that tries to throw you off a trike in corners. He arrived at lunch 20 minutes after everyone else, sweaty and angry. You think this is bad? Our next bike is narrow, tall, and completely useless for the average rider. It is an adventure bike that is too expensive to drop. Number 12, KTM 1390 Super Adventure S. KTM makes amazing bikes, but buying the 1390 Super Adventure S is a trap for the ego-driven buyer. It is a 160 horsepower dirt bike that weighs 550 pounds and costs $24,000. It has radar, it has semi-active suspension, it has a seat height of 34 inches, it has a complex TFT dash that requires a PhD to navigate. Why is it dumb? Because nobody needs 160 horsepower on gravel. If you buy this, you are likely a dentist who watches Long Way Round and dreams of Patagonia. But in reality, you will drop it in the Starbucks parking lot because your inseam is too short. And when you drop it, the plastic fairings explode and the repair bill is $2,000. The technology is amazing until it breaks, and then your bike is a paperweight because only the dealer computer can reset the error codes. What about a bike that is too hot? It is the ultimate Italian flexing machine, but it makes riding in the city a literal hell on earth. Number 11, Ducati Streetfighter V4 SP2. The Ducati Streetfighter V4 is a stripped-down Panigale. The SP2 version costs $37,000. Buying this for the street is like buying a flamethrower to light a candle. It makes 208 horsepower. It has a dry clutch that sounds like a bag of hammers. It has carbon fiber wheels. The heat. Oh God, the heat. The rear bank of cylinders sits directly under your seat. In traffic, the temperature gauge hits 220 degrees, and the bike tries to roast your reproductive organs. It is unrideable below 40 miles per hour. It bucks, surges, and demands to be ridden fast. But you can't ride fast because of speed limits, so you just sit there, sweating, cooking, and depreciating. It is a status symbol for people who don't actually ride. An owner named Marcus bought the SP2 because it was the most expensive naked bike. He rode it to a bike meet in downtown Miami. The traffic was gridlocked. The heat was so intense, he actually got a first-degree burn on his inner thigh through his jeans. He had to pull over and let the bike cool down while moped riders zoomed past him. Okay, the Ducati burns you, but our next bike vibrates you to pieces. It is a heavy, slow American cruiser that costs more than a college education. Number 10. Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide. $50,000. Let me repeat that. $50,000. That is what you pay for a CVO Road Glide in 2026. Buying this motorcycle is an IQ test, and if you sign the check, you failed. It weighs 900 pounds. It has a massive touchscreen that distracts you from the fact that the rear suspension has only 3 inches of travel. It has a Milwaukee 8 121 engine that makes a lot of noise but gets smoked by a Goldwing. This bike is dumb because you are paying for paint and chrome. You are not paying for performance. The suspension is harsh. Hitting a pothole feels like being kicked in the spine by a mule. The wind management is okay, but at highway speeds, your head still buffets because the windshield is cut low for style. You are buying a lifestyle costume, not a motorcycle. You are terrified to park it anywhere because if it gets scratched, you lose $5 grand in value. Do not be a mark, be a member. Like the video, then subscribe. And if you're really tired of being stupid, join us to get the unfiltered truth. We are the only common sense left. The Harley is overpriced. Our next bike is useless. It is an electric motorcycle that promised the future, but delivered range anxiety and a massive price tag. Number 9. LiveWire S2 Del Mar. Electric bikes are cool. The LiveWire S2 Del Mar is dumb. It costs $16,000 and has a highway range of, wait for it, 40 miles. It claims 113 miles of city range. That is a lie. If you ride it like a normal human, you get 70. If you go on the highway, the battery drains faster than a bathtub with the plug pulled. Buying this bike in 2026 means you cannot leave your city. You are tethered to a charging cable. You cannot go on a Sunday group ride because everyone else will be riding for hours while you are sitting at a charge point station in a Walmart parking lot for 60 minutes waiting for juice. It is a toy. It is a $16,000 scooter that pretends to be a motorcycle. The depreciation is horrific because battery tech moves so fast that this bike will be obsolete in 6 months. A tech bro named Elon, no relation to Musk, bought one for his commute. He forgot to charge it one night. The next morning he made it halfway to work and the bike went into turtle mode on the freeway, limiting him to 30 miles per hour. He was almost run over by a semi-truck. He had to push it the last mile in his suit. The LiveWire can run out of juice, but our next bike is worse. It can run out of tire tread. It has the largest engine in the world, and it is completely pointless. Number 8. Triumph Rocket 3 Storm. The Triumph Rocket 3 Storm has a 2.5-liter engine. That is bigger than the engine in a Honda CR-V. It makes 180 horsepower and 166 foot-pounds of torque. Buying this is compensating for something. It weighs nearly 700 pounds. It has a rear tire width of 240 millimeters. A new rear tire costs $400. Why is it dumb? Because you destroy a rear tire every 2,000 miles. The torque shreds the rubber instantly. The bike is so wide and heavy that filtering through traffic is impossible. It cooks your right leg because the massive exhaust headers are inches from your shin. It is a one-trick pony. It goes fast in a straight line for 3 seconds, and then you have to wrestle it into a corner like you are fighting a bear. It is an exercise in excess that drains your bank account with every twist of the throttle. Big Dave loved his Rocket 3. He loved the acceleration, then he took it for a weekend trip. The fuel tank is surprisingly small for such a massive engine. He spent the entire trip stopping for gas every 120 miles. His buddies on touring bikes hated him. He also picked up a nail in the massive rear tire. No shop stocked a 240 section tire. He was stranded for 3 days waiting for a shipment. Moving on. Our next bike is delicate. It is an Italian piece of art that costs $45,000 and belongs in a museum, not on the road. Number 7. MV Agusta Rush 1000. This is the most aggressive, angry-looking naked bike in the world. It looks like a stealth bomber. It costs $45,000. Buying this to actually ride is pure insanity. It has a carbon fiber rear wheel cover that acts like a sail in crosswinds. It has a seat made of Alcantara that ruins itself if it rains. It has bar-end mirrors that vibrate so much you can't see anything. This is dumb money personified. MV Agusta reliability is questionable. Parts availability is non-existent. If you drop this bike, the repair bill will be $10,000. The suspension is so stiff, it feels like there is no suspension. It is a torture rack designed to look good on Instagram. If you ride this, you are terrified of gravel, rain, birds, and dust. You don't own the bike owns you. A wealthy collector named Stefano rode his Rush 1000 to a cafe. He parked it. A kid on a bicycle wobbled past and scratched the carbon fiber radiator cover. Stefano had a meltdown. The replacement part took 6 months to arrive from Italy. He sold the bike because his blood pressure couldn't handle the stress of ownership. The MV is fragile. Our next bike is a confusing mess. It tries to be a cruiser and a sport bike and fails at both. It is the ugliest bike you can buy in 2026. Number 6. BMW R18 Transcontinental. BMW looked at Harley-Davidson and said, "We can make a heavy vibrating cruiser too." And they failed. The R18 Transcontinental is a disaster of ergonomics and weight. It weighs 940 pounds. The massive boxer cylinders stick out so far that you cannot put your feet forward. You are locked in a cramped, upright position on a cruiser. This bike is dumb because it fights its own design. A cruiser is supposed to allow you to stretch out. The R18 engine blocks your legs. The handlebars are swept back weirdly. The fairing is massive and ugly. The infotainment screen is huge but confusing. And the vibration? It shakes like a wet dog at idle. You are paying BMW prices for a worse experience than a used Harley. It has zero resale value because nobody wants them. A BMW loyalist named Hans traded his GS for the R18 TC. He planned a cross-country trip. After 2 days, his hips were screaming because he couldn't move his legs. The adaptive cruise control radar got blocked by a bug and stopped working. He traded back in at a massive loss and apologized to his GS. Now we move on to Arch. This is the bike company owned by Keanu Reeves. We love Keanu, but buying his bike is a dumb financial move. It costs $85,000. Number 5. Arch KRG T1. It uses a generic S and SV twin engine that you can find in a $20,000 chopper. It has a tiny gas tank. It has a massive rear tire that ruins handling. You are paying the Keanu tax. You are paying 60 grand for the brand name and 20 grand for the actual motorcycle. The build quality is handmade, which often means inconsistent. It is a bespoke cruiser that doesn't do anything better than a Ducati DFL that costs a quarter of the price. If you buy this, you are desperate for attention. You want people to ask, "Is that the John Wick bike?" And then you have to explain that no, it's just an overpriced custom with a harsh ride. A Hollywood producer bought one to look cool. He stalled it leaving the dealership because the clutch was heavy. He realized there is no neutral light that is easy to find. He spent more time posing with it in his driveway than riding it. He eventually sold it to another producer for a huge loss. The Arch is vanity, but our next bike is a legend that ruined itself. It has a gas tank smaller than a peanut and range anxiety worse than an electric bike. Number 4, Suzuki Katana. Suzuki brought back the legendary Katana name, and then they ruined it by giving it a 3-gallon gas tank. Buying a Katana in 2026 is buying a daily inconvenience. It is a GSXS 1000 with a body kit. The gas tank holds 3.2 gallons. The usable range is about 90 miles before the light comes on. Why is it dumb? Because you are stopping for gas every hour. If you ride with friends, you are that guy. Hey guys, we need to stop. My light is on. But we just stopped. It ruins the flow of any ride. The seat is hard. The wind protection is non-existent. You are paying extra for retro style that comes with retro range. It is a motorcycle designed by someone who doesn't ride motorcycles. Ben bought a Katana because he loved the 80s look. He joined a group ride through the canyons. He ran out of gas 5 miles from the summit. He had to coast down the mountain in neutral, terrified, while his friends waited at the top eating burgers. He sold the Katana and bought a bike that can actually cross a county line. Now, onto the top 3. These are the dumbest motorcycles you could ever buy. And we're starting, surprisingly, with an Indian. Number 3, Indian Challenger Elite. Indian makes great bikes, but the Elite trim levels are a scam for dumb buyers. The Challenger Elite costs $40,000. It is mechanically identical to the base model that costs $10,000 less. You are paying for custom paint and a fancy badge. The ride command screen is notoriously laggy and takes 30 seconds to boot up. You are overpaying for exclusivity that nobody cares about. It is a heavy bagger. The paint is nice, yes, but is it worth the price of a used Ducati? No. The electronics are glitchy. We have seen screens freeze, GPS get lost, and Bluetooth disconnect constantly. You are paying 40 grand to be a beta tester for Indian software team. And the depreciation? It drops like a rock the second you drive it off the lot. Elite Eddie bought one. He bragged about the limited edition number on the tank. One day the screen froze on the Indian logo. He couldn't change ride modes, couldn't see his music, couldn't see his GPS. He rode the entire way home in silence, staring at a frozen screen on a $40,000 motorcycle. If the Indian is glitchy, then our next bike is the maintenance nightmare. It requires a supercharger service that costs more than a used Honda Gram. Number 2, Kawasaki Ninja H2. The Ninja H2 is an engineering marvel. It is also a stupid purchase for a street rider. It is a supercharged sport bike that hates going slow. It costs $34,000. The service intervals are insane. The supercharger impeller needs inspection. The valve clearance check takes 10 hours of labor. On the street, you can use maybe 10% of this bike's potential. It is jerky at low speeds. It runs hot, it is heavy, and the maintenance cost is offensive. A major service can cost $2,000. If you drop it, the mirror-coated paint costs thousands to repair and cannot be matched by a normal body shop. You are riding a glass cannon. It is stressful, not fun. You spend the whole ride worrying about gravel chips on your $30,000 paint job. A rider named Tom saved up for years to buy an H2. He took it for his first service. The dealer handed him a bill for $1,200 for a break-in inspection and oil change. Tom nearly fainted. He parked the bike in his living room and stopped riding it because he couldn't afford the maintenance. It became expensive furniture. Do you like this video? Click that like button, and if you want to support us even more, become a member. Have early access to the newest videos. The H2 is a money pit. Our number 1 bike is the ultimate torture device. It is beautiful, fast, and will make you hate motorcycling within 20 minutes. Number 1, Ducati Panigale V4R. This is it, the dumbest buy for a street rider. The Ducati Panigale V4R. It is a WSBK homologation race bike with lights. It costs $45,000. It makes 240 horsepower. It has a dry clutch. It has suspension so stiff it will rattle your fillings out. It has a seat made of concrete. Buying this for the street is masochism. The engine has zero torque below 8,000 RPM. You have to slip the clutch to leave a stoplight, and the dry clutch screeches and grabs. The heat is unbearable. It is like sitting on a blast furnace. The ergonomics are designed for a 5'7" Italian jockey, not a normal human. Your wrists will bleed. Your back will spasm. You will be miserable at every speed limit. You are paying 45 grand to be in pain. It is a bike that demands to be ridden at 180 miles per hour, and since you can't do that, it punishes you. We know a wealthy guy named Richard. He bought the V4R to look cool at the local bike meet. The meet was 5 miles away. He arrived sweating with a cramp in his left hand from the clutch and a burn on his leg. He stalled it trying to park. Everyone looked. He couldn't restart it because the hot engine compression was too high for the starter. He had to wait 30 minutes for it to cool down. He looked like the ultimate fool. Which of these dumb bikes have you seen on the road? Roast them in the comments. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want to support our channel and have early access on the newest videos, become a member. And don't forget to like this video. Ride safe.